because we've always been bookended by New York and Philly.
Yeah.
And so it's just very easy. Oh, you're the New York market. It's like, no, we're not.
Yeah.
There's 27 million people in the tri-state area. 10 million of them are right here in New Jersey. That's a huge market.
The New Jersey Innovation Institute is the conduit that connects one of the nation's leading polytechnic institutions, New Jersey Institute of Technology, to the outside world. Created to leverage the vast resources of NJIT, the New Jersey Innovation Institute is focused on fostering innovation, building companies, and upskilling New Jersey's workforce. NJI employs over 100 people and generates over $35 million in revenue per year in industries such as defense and healthcare. To learn more about the innovative strides being taken at the New Jersey Innovation Institute, head to njii.com.
Entrepreneurs and small business owners, are you feeling overwhelmed by lack of capital, growth challenges, or personal branding? You are not alone. UCS Advisors is here for you. We're professional capital raising advisors committed to helping you secure funding and grow your business. Are you ready to impress investors? Check your investor readiness with our free 45-second quiz at ucsquiz.com. We believe in you. Visit ucsquiz.com and start your success journey. And remember, always be willing to achieve your greatness.
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Greetings from the Garden State, powered by the New Jersey Lottery. I'm Mike Ham. We are here in Newark, New Jersey today at the Prudential Center with the EVP of Entertainment, Sean Saadeh. Sean, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I love being here. This is the biggest space probably we've been in. I think like only rivaled by the Battleship in Camden, which is obviously huge in and of itself. But and it's also funny. And I was telling Bill and Megan off mic before that. Down here, you could see kind of on the first camera that Disney on Ice is setting up down here. And as a kid, Disney on Ice was like, I remember doing that every single year. It was almost like a family tradition through like work. We'd have my dad's job, not me as a kid, but like there would be like a suite and we'd be, watching and food and toys and whatever. And it's just so like kind of full circle moment that Disney on Ice is here.
Oh, welcome back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
It's actually usually the first live entertainment event for little ones.
Yeah.
So their first experiences in arenas, because concerts tend to be too loud. So it's kind of cool that we do this for the community. And we do 2 of them a year. We do Disney on Ice in the fall and one in the winter. And we have a slew of other family shows that usually are the first events that they go to.
Yeah, which is really cool. And like, I think, and also like, sorry to everyone listening if there's some banging in the background, but that's, that's part of the show. That's why we like doing it this way. Excuse me. So, and I think that's really cool because obviously, I think a lot of people in Jersey associate Prudential Center with the Devils, which is their home. We'll get into the Devils in a little bit, but I do like the diversity of the programming that you guys have here from there's such a range, and we'll get into kind of like all those different things in a second. But I do want to learn and let the people know a little bit about you. Are you a Jersey guy?
I'm not, actually.
Okay, all right, that's fine. But you got the Jersey hat on.
I have the Jersey hat, so
at least you've embraced it. Yeah, right.
I have, yeah. I mean, I've been out here for quite some time now. So I've been out on the East Coast for over 12 years now. I started in Brooklyn. I opened up the Barclays Center back in 2012. But I've been on the Jersey side for almost 8.5 years now. So I feel like I'm part of the community now.
Sure. We're a very accepting community.
Yes, absolutely. And it's what's interesting about Jersey is I didn't know anything about it when I came here. And there's all these different stereotypes that you can apply to New Jerseyans and New Jersey itself. And when I got here, I was like, this is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Like, that's cool. Like, keep thinking that way. We got something special over here with all of our communities, the towns, the beautiful homes, and the diversity of the state.
Sure.
It is, I think, one of the most densely populated states.
The most, yeah.
In the United States.
Yep.
So we got everything here.
Yeah.
And that's pretty cool. If you want to be in the city, you have a city. If you want to be out in the mountains, you have the mountains. If you want the beach, you got the beach. You know, not too many states can say that about their state. So I think we have a very special thing going on.
Absolutely. And I think what I find Newark to be one of the most fascinating cities in the state. You know, like, and I've had the luxury of, you know, as I've traveled, because like we do all our episodes just like this. So we've been as far south as Wildwood and as far north as like Mahwah and Montague. So like literally almost to the total bottom, but like the entire state. And there's so many interesting places, towns, cities, whatever. But like Newark just has kind of this like energy, you know, that's like, and especially in this area, like this surrounding area, when, you know, you come down for a Devils game and like all that kind of stuff, and you kind of like, it has like a pulse almost, which is really cool and interesting. And I think this is kind of like one of those heartbeats that it has, like this place.
For sure. I always look at Newark as like, has great bones.
Yeah.
And and it has everything that you want. We just got to get people to come back to it.
Yeah.
And I think having the Prudential Center here, along with so many other great, performance halls, museums, restaurants now. It's a tremendous place to come to now. And, I get to come here every single day and I see it close up. But I think that as more and more people come down here and experience the events, they get to also experience some of the cool things, some of the hidden nuggets around Newark, which are pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. So let's take the people also through what your role here at Prudential Center is. I said EVP of Entertainment. What do you do?
Okay. So me and my team, we're responsible for keeping this place busy. So we have the New Jersey Devils, as you mentioned before. They're our main tenant, and we own the team. And we also have Seton Hall basketball that plays here. They're also a tenant in the building. We oversee their schedule. They operate on their own, so do the Devils. And we are responsible for all the concerts, family shows, sporting events, other sporting events that come through, whether that's boxing, UFC, AEW wrestling, WWE wrestling.
Yeah.
All that comes through here, plus all the family shows, which, of course, we're loading in Disney on Ice right now. So we're here to bring content to the building. And that's typical in arenas. You know, the teams play 41 home games a year, plus a couple of preseason games. Seton Hall will come in and play 14 to 15 games here, home games. And so that doesn't make up 365 days. So you're talking about 65 days, roughly 55, whatever the math is, 56 days. With your tenants, and now you have all these other days.
Yeah, 300 more days to fill.
So our job is to keep the place busy and to drive revenue. And it's beyond just the making of money, because we are a business. Of course, we're here to make money, but I think it's also, when we look at the Prudential Center, we think of it as the town hall of New Jersey.
Yeah.
And as the town hall of New Jersey, that means like you want to bring something for everybody, right? And so, the programming, we really look at how we curate that. It's the family shows, right, that brings in the youth and their parents, and that's a really cool thing. You got your tenants, sports tenants, and then you got these concerts that we bring in that span all different types of genres, from legacy acts like Paul McCartney and the Rolling Stones and the Eagles to being the home of K-pop.
Sure.
We really consider ourselves as one of the first venues in the United States to have embraced K-pop, and now it's a huge genre, which we do, 5 to 6, 7 concerts a year.
Yeah.
It's sort of like the East Coast place to go for K-pop, and we embraced it a long time ago, and then we've, since continued to embrace it and build it. But Latin, again, super big.
Yeah.
Latin has crossover too. It's not just Latin; it's now Latin, but it's also mainstream artists. So we see, even when we produce those events, those events have everybody, and there's not just Latinos that are coming to these events. It's everybody's coming out. So it's pretty cool. It's a fun thing to do. You know, it's bringing happiness to our community, and I think I look at it that way.
Yeah. When you're like, so take me through, like, and we don't have to spend a lot of time on this, but almost like the booking process and kind of curating that schedule, and like how far out in advance are you generally working? Because like I operate with this show on like, hey, you want to do it tomorrow? Like that kind of schedule. But I would imagine that doesn't work here, you know? So take me through like that process a little bit, and kind of how you start kind of building out a schedule that you know is going to hit all those different demographics that you're trying to hit.
Yeah, so it's, if you take a blank calendar, right, you're plugging in certain things based on booking windows. So booking windows are different for each type of event. So family shows, for example, like we're booking those out a year in advance. So we kind of know where those fall.
Yeah.
So you take that off the calendar, boom, those are confirmed. Then you take your tenant schedules, right? They usually don't come out until like, you know, June, July, August, depending on, you know, like with the NHL, it's usually in the late June, early July timeframe. But at the same time, you're trying to book shows around that time, so you're sort of just holding certain dates, right? And then horse trading a little bit, and plugging in concerts when they come in, and then holding back team schedule so that you can maximize really the number of dates that you use in the facility. And that's a bit of a puzzle, but we do it very, very well.
Sure.
And I think we're very lucky to be able to work with with our team, the Devils, and they totally get the bigger picture. Like they get that, hey, yeah, we need real dates here, and dates that work for us. But at the same time, we need to make sure that this venue is busy, and I think that's really, really key, to have that relationship with your team, and same with Seton Hall. They've been tremendous. Like if we need to horse trade a date, with the exception of like, hey, we need this for what opening week or whatever it is, you know, they're very, very, very great partners with us, to make sure that we maximize the venue.
Yeah, and I think also what's interesting too is like you talk about tenants, so like the Devils and Seton Hall, but everyone else that comes through here is kind of like visiting teams and acts are all kind of like part of the experience here, but also like their experience here I think is interesting. And when Bill had sent over the information prior to this interview, and I was looking and how I like was reading at one point, and I forget exactly what it said, but like the experience that like visiting teams have when they come here and how important that is, because, you know, like especially on like the act side, I think, you know, it could be great, like a good space, but if they have a terrible experience while they're here, it's gonna be like hard to bring that same act back and have recurring business from that. So like take me through almost, you know, kind of like 30,000 foot view of like what that process is like, and making sure that those experiences for people that are visiting here have a good experience.
Yeah, I think, you know, we work really hard to make sure that the experience is top notch. It's first class. And part of that is we're in a very competitive market. You know, we've got 4 arenas, 5 arenas really in the tri-state, New York metropolitan area. And, you know, there's choices. Acts have choices to play any of those venues.
Yeah.
And so we want them to, when they come here, we want them to feel like it's their home away from home. Remember, these artists are on the road, or the teams that are playing basketball here or UFC, they're constantly on the road.
Yeah.
So they don't have the home creature comforts. And so what we try to do is really make that experience top notch, so that they can feel like they're at home for that night. We want the fans to have a great experience, whether that's the culinary offerings that we have here, to, you know, ease of getting into the building, the technology that we provide. Those are all things that we think about. So we really have 2 customers. We have those that are like performing or playing a game here, and we have our fans, and those are New Jerseyans, you know, and So I think we really pay close attention to that and are constantly upgrading and looking at ways to make sure that our experience is top notch. You know, we also, you know, we think that New Jersey is different.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people in the industry, I don't think people here in New Jersey feel this way, because I think people are very proud about being on the New Jersey side. But
yeah.
I think the industry sometimes tries to lump us into New York.
Right.
Hey, you're a New York.
They split us into two, or we're either Philly or New York, depending on which top or bottom part of the state.
That's correct. Yeah, because we've always been bookended by New York and Philly.
Yeah.
And so it's just very easy. Oh, you're the New York market. It's like, no, we're not.
Yeah.
There's 27 million people in the tri-state area. 10 million of them are right here in New Jersey. That's a huge market, right? Where we're pulling from, right? Even if that's not half the state goes down to Philly, the half the state goes, that's a huge population. It would be the 4th, 5th largest city in the United States. So what we try to push out is, hey, New Jersey is a separate and incremental market to New York, right?
Yeah.
The likelihood of an artist playing New York City is pretty high, right? They're going to play New York City when they route their tours. And what we want to do is we want to make sure that we say, hey, look, we get it. You want to play New York City. It's the largest city in the United States.
Yeah.
Of course. But don't forget, New Jersey is the 4th, 5th largest city. It's a huge market. And you have to play it. You must play it.
Yeah.
It's got to be an incremental play. And I think that's why we've been successful, I think, driving the concert business from 23, 24 concerts a year to 60 concerts a year.
Yeah.
We've almost tripled the concerts that have come through here. And some of that is strength of touring. You know,
sure.
Coming out of COVID, a lot of artists, there was pent up energy, right, to get out and tour. They were, creating content, right? They were creating new music, and I think they were just like sitting back and like, what do I do with this now? Usually, it's you create it, and then that's what prompts you to go tour.
Yeah.
Which is where artists make the most of their money now.
Right.
Is on touring. It used to be opposite.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, it was, hey,
records and albums you're selling, and
that's right. It's album sales, and it's really about, hey, how do we go out there and tour so that we can sell more albums?
Right.
Now it's the opposite. It's like, let's put out new music, which is important, right? Great content, but this is how we're going to monetize it through live events.
Yeah. I want to continue this conversation, but I do have more of like a personal question for you.
Sure.
So you've been doing this for a while, and let's just take the stuff that you booked here at Prudential Center. Do you ever have like pinch me moments where you're like, holy shit, I can't believe I just booked this person, or like get to watch that show and know that you had a hand in putting on that show, concert, act, whatever it is?
Look, there's always, I think there's pinch me moments every single day.
Yeah.
This is why I do what I do.
Right.
It's not, this kind of job is it's a lot of hours, right? We're putting in the hours because not only we're working a full day, but then we have evening events. And so, you got to love what you do.
Sure.
And I've been doing this for 27 years. So I'm getting up there to the 30-year range. And, I get excited for every single event that comes through because there's somebody in the crowd, not somebody, there's thousands of people in this crowd that love that particular artist or that particular event, whether that's UFC, whether that's boxing, whether that's any of our concerts, the family shows. Like, they're there and they're for 2 to 3 hours, they get to shut it off, right? So whatever is bothering them, whatever is the stress in their life, they get to shut it off and come here and just enjoy their favorite artists.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Right.
And
really cool.
I think where I get the goosebumps, is every single time those lights go down, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like when they shut the lights down and the show starts and the crowd goes crazy, it's pretty special.
That's really cool. Excuse me. So before we take our break, all the stuff that you're talking about, the experience of, people coming here and all that kind of stuff. And I took a note here about when Billboard ranked like their top venues in the country, and like Prudential Center being pretty high.
Number 5 in the world.
Isn't that crazy?
Not to me.
Okay.
Not to me,
yeah,
but I can understand how people might not know that.
Sure. Yeah. I think that's really my point is like, who would even, like you mentioned before, how, that the idea of like everyone doing New York or like, even Philly or these other like major cities, but then right here in Newark, in our state, in Jersey, is a top 5 venue in the world.
That's right.
That's crazy.
It is something very special, and I'm very prideful of, and it goes with a lot of hard work from me and my team. I mean, I have a great team. Tyler Bates, who runs all of our concerts and family show bookings, and Dylan Wanagle, who runs all of our sports properties and special events, and Shannon Delmore. I just got to name those people because they're such a huge part of my team, and they keep the place busy and put a lot of love into it. And so it doesn't surprise me, but I think people in our state even would be surprised by it because they just everyday life. Number one, you're not paying attention to everything that's going on.
Right.
Number two, you got the world's most famous arena, I guess. That's what they say.
Sure.
Across, over at MSG. And, that's where people just think, oh, that's
the spot, right?
That's the mecca for concerts and sporting events. And I think we do it differently. I think the Jersey fan, I just got to say this, we often get called out on how great the crowds are here for our events. It's not corporate. It's the real fan that's in our building.
Yes.
That loves the artist, and it's really, really cool. They bring it every single night. I'm very proud of that too. So I guess I'm not surprised by it, but at the same time, like I'm super thrilled that we could create a number 5 venue in the world right here in New Jersey for this community.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I love that because I do think that this place, like when you come for a show or you come for a game or you come for whatever, like there is that vibe, and I was at another arena in the state last week, and it's like sometimes you don't get that same vibe, but this has been great so far. So we're going to take our break. Okay. This is the Greetings from the Garden State podcast powered by the New Jersey Lottery. I'm Mike Hamm. We're here at the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey with Sean Saadeh. We'll be right back.
The Mayo Performing Arts Center is the heart of arts and entertainment in Morristown, New Jersey. MPAC presents over 200 events annually and is home to an innovative children's arts education program. To see MPAC's upcoming schedule of world-class concerts, stand-up comedy, family shows, and more, head to mayoarts.org or just click the link in our show notes.
Hey folks, I want to tell you about the crew over at Make Cool Shit. These are the magicians who recently gave our podcast a jaw-dropping makeover. You know how we roll here at Greetings from the Garden State podcast, right? We're all about that Garden State attitude. Well, Make Cool Shit shares that same vibe, and they've got something absolutely epic to offer. It's called the Unlimited Cool Shit Design Subscription. It's a game changer, my friends. Imagine this, unlimited creativity, one flat monthly fee, and none of that boring stuff. It's like having your very own army of design superheroes on speed dial. Whether you're a fresh faced startup or a seasoned business looking to shake things up, the team at Make Cool Shit has got your back. It's all about making your brand sizzle, no matter where you are in your journey. So if you're ready to turn your ideas into mind-blowing realities, then it's time to connect with Make Cool Shit. Check them out on Instagram at WeMakeCoolShit or visit their website, WeMakeCoolShit.co. Remember, that's co, not com.
Greetings from the Garden State is proud to be partnered with some amazing brands. A special thanks to LeGrand Coffee House, our official coffee, and Birdling, our official travel bag. To learn more about these and all of our other great sponsors, head to greetingsfromthegardenstate.com.
All right, we're back for segment 2 of this episode of Greetings from the Garden State, powered by the New Jersey Lottery. I'm Mike Hamm. We are here in Newark, New Jersey at the Prudential Center with Sean Saadeh. So first segment, we touched on a lot of stuff. First, I didn't do this in the first segment, I feel bad. Thank you guys for the jersey,
yeah,
which I love. And that was like that whole time frame of like releasing those jerseys and then kind of like what it's built into. You know, Bill's got the hat on.
Yep.
And it's amazing. I love it so much. But I'm pumped, so thank you for that.
You're welcome. Absolutely.
Yeah. And okay, so I know in the first segment I asked you a little bit about your background, and we literally just launched into every other topic that we possibly could. So I do want to just circle back to that and maybe ask like why you eventually landed here and how and all that kind of stuff, and like why this was a good fit for you at that time.
Perfect. Yeah, we did touch on that briefly. So as I said in the prior segment, been doing this for 27 years. I started in San Diego, so that's where I'm from.
Okay.
San Diego, California. Born and raised there. Grew up going to see concerts and sporting events at the San Diego Sports Arena. So there was already this like interest in this space, this world that I didn't know anything about as a youth. And then in college, you know, I got marketing degree and business degree at Santa Clara University, and didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, but I did some internships. I was in nonprofit right out of college. They offered me a job through that internship, and quickly realized that, yeah, this is not something that I want to do long term.
Yeah.
I loved it in certain ways, but it wasn't my calling. And I always feel like if you got to get up every single day, put on your shoes, and work long hours, you better do something that you love. And so I started doing a bit of an audit on what I really was passionate about. And it turned out that, you know, sports was something that I really wanted to get into.
Yeah.
Just didn't know how to get into it. However, I did have a contact at the San Diego Sports Arena, so I reached out and, you know, asked them about how to get into this business. And, they explained to me like it's not the easiest thing to get into, but in the end, I really enjoyed the conversation and recognized and realized it's what I wanted to do. It turns out that the same person that I reached out to, we were out in Scotland playing golf.
Yeah.
And
like St. Andrews?
Yeah, we had a whole golf trip out there with our fathers.
That's
amazing. Yeah, and it was a great trip.
Yeah.
A story for a different day.
Sure.
But
yeah,
we're walking down, I forget which fairway at Troon, and I'm like, how do I get in? How do you make this happen for me? And it turns out like 6 months later, they had something available, and it was this booking position. It was a booking assistant position. I didn't even know what booking meant.
Sure.
I just knew that, I wanted to be in sports. And it turns out that booking is beyond sports, right? It's everything, as we mentioned in the last segment. So, I give the Hans, Ernie Hahn, and his father, Ron Hahn, all the props for getting me into the business a long, long time ago. And I immediately fell in love with it. And I worked 9 years at the San Diego Sports Arena for them. And, after about 8-9 years, I was starting to get itchy. I wanted to sort of get out of the San Diego Sports Arena every day kind of scenario, and to branch off. And I started looking around. They had built a new arena in Phoenix, actually in Glendale, Arizona, for the Phoenix Coyotes at the time. Now they're the Arizona Coyotes.
Yep.
And, I put my name out there, said I'd be interested in the position, and I ended up getting that position. I worked for the Phoenix Coyotes for 5 years, and I learned a ton there. San Diego was a competitive market. Phoenix was a competitive market with 2 buildings. You had the venue downtown for the Suns.
Yep.
And so you had to grow up pretty quickly on how you devise your booking strategy to generate the business, right? Because now you have competition right down the street. It's not like the New York metropolitan area where you can play multiple venues within the area. It's one play in San Diego. It's one play in Phoenix. So you're going after it. And so that, I think that helped groom me to become a very strategic booker. So instead of being just operational, which is a lot of, hey, here's all the information, call me, blah, blah, blah. This is going out there and selling.
Yeah.
And being proactive with trying to bring content to your building. And so...
Sorry, when you were out in like San Diego and Arizona more specifically, and obviously those are like major spots.
Yeah.
The demographics of those places are obviously like different than they are, like those two are different in and of themselves than they are here, than they are in the city, so like I'm sure that kind of like plays a huge role in kind of the types of acts you're trying to get and like all that kind of stuff to try to make sure that you're serving whatever community that you're in.
100%. 100%. Yeah. It's not like a cookie cutter situation.
Sure.
You have to tailor to what venue you're at, what market you're at. And so like having some of those skill sets of identifying, all right, you can't just walk in and say, all right, let's book all these people. They may not work here. They may not work in San Diego or may not work in Phoenix. I mean, we did a lot of Latin in San Diego and Phoenix because there's a big Latin community.
Sure.
But they weren't like strong R&B hip hop, at least at the time that I was booking it.
Right.
And so, I think just identifying where you can go after, country's strong in Phoenix, not as much in San Diego. Although now you could make an argument that country's everywhere.
Yeah.
It's not just. But back when I was booking in the mid '90s and early 2000s, that was very much the situation. But so that you always have to take that into account.
Sure. Sorry to throw you off track.
No, it's all good.
Yeah.
And then after 5 years in Arizona, I was lucky enough to get hired by the Brooklyn Nets. At the time, they were the New Jersey Nets.
Yep.
They were still playing here.
Yeah.
In fact, and they hired me to open up the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. I was lucky enough to come on about a year and a half before opening. Got to see it build up.
Yeah.
And worked really hard on the grand opening of that building and what that looked like. So, we opened up with 8 Jay-Z shows and brought Barbra Streisand back to Brooklyn, her hometown.
Yeah.
And that was wonderful. It was a great experience opening the building, and we got a ton of of learnings from that. And I think learning from every single place is a building block that got me to where I am today.
Yeah.
And I think after Brooklyn, so I was there for 4 years. After Brooklyn, the Prudential Center had reached out to me, and at the time it was Scott O'Neill and Hugh Weber, and asked if I would consider coming over here to build their business here.
Yeah.
And I think at the time I wasn't sure, quite frankly, what I wanted to do. I didn't know if that was the next step, but I just was so impressed with, the whole organization, starting with, our managing partners, Josh Harris and David Blitzer. I just really bought into their vision of how they saw the expansion business of entertainment and sports, and that they're a family oriented people that wanted a legacy for their kids.
Yeah.
And so having stability there is always a great thing. And so when you're considering your next steps, I like that.
Sure.
So I immediately signed on, and I've been here for 8.5 years now.
Yeah.
And it's been tremendous. It really has. I love the team here. Our CEO, Tad Brown, is tremendous, great leader. Jake Reynolds, who I report into, has a great vision. And I just love working with this team every single day.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. And I love kind of like that whole trajectory and kind of how it culminates here, and like also over the last 8 years, obviously, I'm sure that there's been obviously like a lot of improvements, upgrades, kind of just like what you walked into 8 years ago is not the same as what it is now. Like, it's come such a long way, and to really provide that top level experience for everyone involved, and then to be a top venue in the world, you know. So I love that you're a big part of that and kind of sharing all these different things. Going off of that a little bit, I do want to just talk a little bit about like some of the different spots, because everyone knows, you know, you come in, you go to your seat, but there's like so many more things going on up here. Like, we're up here in, this is called the lofts, right?
The lofts, correct.
Yeah, so we're up in the lofts, and there's some other spots. So take me through like those other places that people can enjoy a show, game, all that kind of stuff from.
Yeah, I mean, again, we want people to have a great experience here, and times have changed as it relates to going to see concerts and sporting events. People want a full 360 experience. We recognize that. And that's even in the last 10 years that consumer feel for coming to a game or to an event has evolved. And I think we've taken note of that. The lofts here, you know, built a few years ago. It's a new product that has smaller, more open suites.
Yeah.
With an area, with a club behind it, so that you can go and sort of network with other people.
Sure.
And I think that's what consumers were looking for versus like a traditional suite. That's kind of evolved over the years. And we do have traditional suites still. Some people still want that product. But we've added like the Prue Lounge. So the Prue Lounge is now sort of our front door that faces out towards the new Mulberry Commons Park that they built in Newark a few years ago. And it's beautiful. It's an open space for hockey games. For the Devils games, it's our first and second row fans. They get that space. For concerts, we open it up depending on the concert or the event for the general public to come in. And it's used as a bar. You can get some food there.
Yeah.
It's kind of a nice experience. And it's kind of as I said, it faces out, has its own front door, so we can actually do special events in there too.
Yeah.
As well as what's going on in the arena. So it's a great little space that we just added this year, and it's beautiful. If you haven't seen it, we'll take you down there to see it.
Yeah.
We added a bar on the main concourse where the old Devil's secondary shop was.
Okay.
And we kind of moved that off to the M&M's, above the M&M's tower location. So people that come up through the M&M's escalators up to the top, just to the right is the new secondary team store.
Yeah.
And we replaced the old one with the Foundry, which is this beautiful bar right in the middle of everything. Has screens, TV screens, to playing upcoming games or whatever sporting events on that day.
Yeah.
And then it's just easy access, and it's kind of a cool location as well. So those are a couple of things that we added just recently. We added these loge boxes right here, not loge boxes, but main concourse or studio suite. Sorry, that's the name of it. Studio suites right here. That was 2 years ago. We put those in.
Cool.
So just little upgrades like that.
Yeah.
Technology upgrades, IPTV, where our screens are all kind of connected together. We can promote upcoming events. We can add new food items on there, above the concession stands. So those are really some of the cool technology things that we've added. Wi-Fi, 5G, data.
Yeah.
And what else am I missing? I can't keep it straight, but every year we're putting new things in.
Yeah, and I think that's a really cool thing, and even just like all the upgrades on the food, like that's how I got this whole conversation started, was coming to like the tasting event that you guys did for all the new menu offerings and all that kind of stuff. But I think everything that you're talking about and like those like little upgrades to kind of just keep enhancing that experience, because if you come here 2 years ago and then you come here now, it's like, oh wow, it's even better. And I'm sure if you come here 2 years from now, it's gonna be even better. Like that.
It's going to continue. It's a continued growth.
Yeah.
And you mentioned Levy you mentioned the food experience. Levy just came in as our concessionaire this year, and has brought a whole new menu of items to the arena, which I think the culinary experience is so important. We're in New Jersey, so it's important.
That's right.
And I think they get that and have elevated in so many ways. They just got in, so it's just building blocks. Like each day we get better and better and better.
Right.
And I think they've done a really, really good job. I think some of the technology associated with food now to get you in to get whatever you need and back to your seat as quickly as possible.
Yeah,
it's kind of a cool thing that they've added. Whether that's in and out, like sort of convenience store experience where you're just grabbing your beer or whatever it is, and checking out with your card, just like tapping it, or using palm technology, or we're using I forget the name of the technology, but you're literally putting it on a tray and it's checking you out right then and there.
I did that the last time I was here at a Devils game. Like I put the stuff, like all our drinks down on the whatever that was, like I guess a tray, and it was like, yep, that's how much you owe, and that's it. So it was really cool. I'd never seen anything like that before.
It's cool that they're bringing this technology because it's a better customer experience.
Yeah.
One of the things that is challenging when you have thousands of people in your building is keeping the lines down.
Yeah.
Right. So some people just want, hey, I just want to go grab a beer. I don't want to stand in line for 15 minutes to get it.
Right.
It's not a great experience. So being able to just, I can just walk in here, grab this, put it on the tray, checks me out. I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's awesome. And that's really, the experience side of it, obviously coming for a show or a game is like what you're going there for. But it's very apparent that like the experience you have within whatever venue you're at can like immediately change like how you feel about that experience, like of watching that show. Like if you miss half the game because you're standing on line for a hot dog, or like half the concert because you had to go run to the bathroom,
right?
Like nobody wants that.
Nobody wants that. We don't want that either.
Exactly. So. I do want to shift what we're talking about a little bit because White Eagle Hall in Jersey City and also the Lowe's Jersey Theater, also in Jersey City, are also connected to Prudential Center, right?
Correct.
So take me through like that, I guess, relationship or that how that works, and then why that's like an important piece of this whole puzzle.
Well, I think the vision here is that so much of let's call it the music business resides in New York, especially at the smaller club level, theater level. New Jersey has a lot of performing arts centers. Which is not necessarily a music-first environment. Yeah. So what we wanted to try to create is a Jersey side kind of music scene, all right? And so, we started operating White Eagle Hall a couple years ago. It's a beautiful 800 cap room in Jersey City, right in the Grove Street area.
Yeah.
Which is a really cool stop. If you're going into Jersey City by path, go to Grove Street and walk around there. They have tons of restaurants and so on and so forth. Quick 10-minute walk up from Grove Street. You're at White Eagle Hall, historic building built in the 1910s, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Has all the original finishings. It used to be where St. Anthony's basketball used to practice.
Yeah. Which is crazy to think. Yeah, like it's another historic spot,
So Bob Hurley used to conduct his practices there, and when the school went away, obviously that was sitting there. It was originally a performance hall. So Ben LaPiccolo, who was the developer on the project, did a great job renovating the space. He even took the old basketball court and repurposed it for the bar tops.
Oh, cool! I didn't know that.
Yeah. So when you walk in there, it's new and improved, but you still have the skylights in there, the original skylights. You have parts of the old floor that are part of the bars, as I said, with all the modern amenities. It's a great place to see a show.
Yeah.
And we've diversified the programming there as well. We've kind of taken the model at the arena level, and of course much smaller, and applied it to White Eagle Hall.
Yeah.
So now you have this 800 cap club. We are in the process of working in partnership with Jersey City to renovate the Lowe's Theater. When that's done, you're going to have a 4,000 GA venue and a 2,900 roughly 2,900 capacity seated venue.
Yeah.
Which is going to be a beautiful, beautiful theater from one of the original 5 Wonder theaters in the New York area, and we're going to renovate that. It's going to be a beautiful space, and so what the thinking behind all of this is like, can we take an artist from 800 to 2,900, 4,000 to the arena? Now, truthfully, not every artist is going to do that,
right?
Of course. In fact, very few that are 800 end up at the arena. But what it does is it gets artists to play New Jersey, right?
Yeah.
So you build a bit of the music scene, and the people that are making decisions on behalf of the artists, right? Agents, managers, we now have an intimate relationship with those people. So if you look at an agent's roster, they probably have, maybe 1, 2, 3 arena acts, and a bunch of smaller acts, right? So if you're helping them build their smaller acts, and step by step, you have an intimate relationship with them where it makes it easier for us to conduct business with them.
Yeah.
Versus at the arena level, it tends to be more of a touring business, to be honest with you. So Live Nation, AEG, those are the 2 big promoters. They're buying 60 city tours and they're putting them in buildings. At the club level and at the theater level too, it's much more organic. So at the club level, we're buyers.
Yeah.
So we're taking risk on their artists. And so when you're doing that, you're not only helping those artists to grow up and get bigger through your involvement with their tour, but you're also helping their agents and their managers and all that stuff. So it's kind of 2-pronged is why we're doing it. Yeah. And I think it sets us up well long term to be more of a hub for live music.
Right. Yeah, and I love that because it's like, I think, one of the things that, when people think of Jersey that are kind of like almost like fringe familiar with Jersey, like a lot of things that they think of are places like a Stone Pony or like a Starland Ballroom almost, where it's like those kind of those environments where it's like club level almost, like you said. And you have performing arts centers like, the Mayo Performing Arts Center in Morristown is one of our sponsors and was one of our first ever guests, and we love them, of course. But like you said, there's like a totally different kind of vibe almost. Yeah. All right, we're back. All right, so we had some people come through, so we wanted to take a quick break. But we're still here. We're talking about the
beauty of the arena.
Yeah, the beauty of the arena. We were talking about the Lowe's Theater. We were talking about White Eagle Hall. Yeah. All that kind of stuff. And I love the idea of trying to like pull people back to Jersey in a sense that's like just like a different style of like putting on entertainment and events, and almost kind of from a different end, like curating. Curating events and acts that could eventually grow to something that could be here, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, I think it's something that they can aspire to do and to get to. But I think the main thing here is that it's New Jersey. Yeah, we're investing in New Jersey and the scene around here, and I don't think there's enough of that on the Jersey side. Just send out. New York City, that's where it's at. That's the hub. And I think, especially after COVID, I think people want to stay on the side of the river.
Yeah.
You know, it's convenient. It's less expensive. Going through tunnels, crossing bridges, right? And you know, look, I have a love for New York City. I worked in Brooklyn for 4 years, so I do. But I love how much the fan base here loves their state.
Yeah.
And wants to be here. And so if they want to be here, why not bring the content here?
Right.
And I think by investing in these venues, it makes a lot of sense. And Jersey City is not far from here, you know. And so, you know, we joke because where Lowe's is Journal Square, and I mentioned earlier that White Eagle Hall is on Grove Street, so you could literally take a PATH train from here to Lowe's to White Eagle Hall. So we're right on the PATH train line, and that's the beauty of it all. I mean, it makes a lot of sense, and so. You know, we're excited about this, and we're looking to grow it, and we're excited about just bringing beautiful venues to life here in New Jersey.
Yeah, and it's great that this is a great segue. You're such a pro. That, you know, looking into the future, kind of like looking ahead and all these plans and things that you guys are trying to do here. Excuse me. I don't know why I can't talk anymore. But, like, what are things that you're working on now, like maybe trying to, like, curate on the schedule a little bit more, and just like looking into the future almost for Prudential Center, White Eagle Hall, Lowe's, like all that kind of stuff together, and like what the goals are in the future.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things that we've invested in the past, I mentioned K-pop, right?
Yeah,
we're all in on K-pop. That's a genre we want to invest in. Then it was Latin. You know, let's build out the Latin business. We're doing 15, 16 Latin shows a year. The next wave is country music. You know, we have amphitheaters in New Jersey. You know, we have the PNC right down the way. You know, they do a lot of summer country shows.
Yeah.
But I think that there's a great experience watching country in an arena as well.
Yeah.
And so we're focused on that, building up the country business. So we have Dan and Shay and Kane Brown coming through, and Zach Bryan, just to name a few that we have on the schedule now. And that's quite a few compared to what we've had in the past, knowing that there is an amphitheater right down the street.
Yeah.
So that's definitely an area of growth, and comedy is the other area that we're looking to continue to grow. And as I mentioned before, Tyler Bates, our head of entertainment booking for concerts, he's 100% focused on that. And we've had quite a bit of success there, whether that's Sebastian Maniscalco coming through, or Bill Burr that came through North the Shore. We had Chris Rock and Kevin Hart together as part of that tour. Just some of the recent comedy shows. Yeah. And we have Nate Bergancy coming up.
Oh, wow. Right.
Next week. So again, we just have a full schedule, and that's an area of growth that we're really focused on, and that corresponds to all of our venues. Again, as we're managing and operating and booking these venues, we can take these strategies and apply them, of course, at different levels, because they're at different level capacities. But we're taking those strategies. That's why I think we're great at what we do. Is we're able to really look at each and every venue separately and put together a strong strategy around it.
Yeah, and I love it. I love what you guys do. This episode has been amazing. So before we wrap it up and send you back to doing the great job that you do, I want to make sure that we give people like website, places they can go, like where they get tickets for different events and games and stuff like that. So where should they be going to do that?
Well, it's PruCenter.com. And then our social handles are at PruCenter. And you can buy tickets at Ticketmaster.
Great. Yeah, easy.
Pretty easy.
Yeah. But Sean, like, thank you so much for doing this with us today. And it was like so cool to kind of, be here when no one else really isn't here. Like just kind of like the way that it is right now, and not a full packed stadium or arena. And good luck with the Disney on Ice.
Thank you.
I'll check in on that. But
you want to come since that was your first, one of your first shows?
I don't know if I could do it. It's just like it'd be like too jarring of a childhood memory for me. But this has been awesome, and I'm sure like we'll talk more in the future. And,
sure.
Do some different things.
Yeah, please come back.
Yeah, absolutely. You can guarantee that. So again, this has been. We'll make sure that we put the Prudential Center and the social handles and all that kind of stuff in the show notes, so people could just go click on them and get tickets to a show, because there's a lot of great stuff coming up when this episode releases. This is airing on February 13th, so there's going to be a ton of stuff coming up for the rest of the winter, I guess, spring, and then throughout the rest of the year. So be sure to do that and have a great experience. Sean, thank you again. Really appreciate it. And this has been the Greetings from the Garden State podcast, powered by the New Jersey Lottery. I'm Mike Hamm. We were here with the EVP of Entertainment, Sean Saadeh, at the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey. We were also powered by the New Jersey Lottery. I forgot to say that. Sorry, Lottery. Thank you for listening, and we will catch you next time.